All right, so first happy anniversary. It was a little over a year ago when we drove down to Chicago to pick up Elwood and start our life as EV owners. So for us, that was a pretty big change going to EV ownership. Like anything, you get used to it. I'm absolutely in love with it, won't shut up about it, won't stop making videos about it. But you've had to put up with me talking about it for longer than we've owned it. And now you've gotten to experience it for a year, and just wanted to get your thoughts. First of all, we drove down to Chicago to pick it up, and we did it in a day trip because the car was a little bit expensive, and we were trying to save an overnight fee, or overnight hotel stay. So we did drive down there, picked it up mid-afternoon, and drove all the way back that night.
Well, I think I took over like about dusk, like when we were in Wisconsin. So I didn't drive it the first leg, but altogether, I got used to the autopilot way sooner than I thought I would, like because it works really well. It's well designed and it's very reliable. And up front, the car will tell you, well, I can't engage autopilot right now. And, I can't determine where the lanes are, so you're on your own. I thought I was a little intimidated by what that was going to be like, and then I really didn't need to worry about it. Also, driving the overnight through, in the dark, half falling asleep, it was really good to have some of the safety features like the autopilot reminding you to turn the wheel slightly and making sure you were awake and keeping you in the lane without you doing anything. And it ended up, I think, revoking my autopilot because I had not complied. I wasn't really sure how, plus I was sort of falling asleep. So it was good from a safety perspective to have the car sort of cut me off and say, yeah, you're done driving now.
Yeah.
So that was very helpful.
Yeah, that was a long drive home. My first few minutes in it, I think it was still resetting from the previous owner, so I had the screen go black and a restart happen, which I had seen on videos was a thing that could happen and your car will still be driving, so I didn't get too worried. But it did it twice, and I started to wonder, like, should we just turn back? And then after that it was fine. We got out of the construction around Chicago, which was a nightmare, and got on the road, and everything's been really great since. As far as features, what's the best feature, worst feature of your commute in the Tesla?
Well, the best feature is definitely the autopilot. I get stuck in traffic a lot depending on when I leave to go home and when I leave the house. So that's been so invaluable to just steer where I'm needed, but then not have to stress about who's in front of me and how much distance I allow. There's not a lot of conscious thought that has to go into it, and that's such a relief when you've had a long day, especially. Worst feature, I don't know. I was kind of straining to find one when you asked me yesterday because it's pretty great, and I guess it doesn't have a CD player, which is something only old people would notice anyway. I just listen to audiobooks, and I don't listen to ebooks, so maybe I just need to switch to that.
Okay. For family trips, best and worst for family trips?
Oh gosh, best for family when all three of us are together. There are a lot of just little features that help with toddlers and kids that are barely school age, just sort of cheering them up and distracting them and things like that. Like emissions testing always makes Joan laugh, so that's pretty useful. With the streaming songs, you can just call up a song that your kid will enjoy once they start to reach the end of their tether, and it's really useful for that. And that's a really important feature for our family with the age Joan is right now.
Mm-hmm. Cold weather. You drove it last year during some of the coldest days, the longest, snowiest commutes.
Mm-hmm.
And our battery range is 265 miles. That's obviously in ideal conditions. You have a 26-mile each-way commute. Mm-hmm. And so how did it do in the winter for you?
Oh, it did great. I mean, like the only time that I was actually concerned about getting home and charging in time was when there was this rush hour blizzard on the way home one day. It was very cold, very snowy, and the 26 miles took 3 hours and 15 minutes. When I had started the trip at about 60%, that was the only reason I was concerned, and because of how long it took and how cold it was getting. But it was fine. I think I got home with 7% left to spare, something like that. So it was all well within range. If you plan ahead, it's not a big deal at all. I just didn't do a great job of planning ahead that day, obviously.
Have you ever had any problems with the range, or do you even notice it? Because generally I plug it in, so.
No. It's been comparable to regular cars in terms of, like, if I do a poor job of planning, I can strand myself, and once every 6 years I do, but I haven't with this car, and I probably could, but I'm less dumb than I was in my 20s, I think. So it hasn't happened.
Yeah, I think the car's also better at reminding you, like, hey, this is what's coming, this is what's going on.
Yeah, so, like, it's a way more accurate gauge of remaining energy than, like, my other car right now, which is a hybrid, but the fuel indicator is so variable.
Now, we did reach up a little bit to buy this. We kind of stretched, they call it the Tesla stretch, and we did that.
Oh, it has a name?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Because this is far fancier than any other car we've owned. All in all, I feel like it's been a pretty good investment. It hasn't needed really much in repairs, even though it was used. The mobile service has been great when we've needed it. One of the big expenses, because this car is more expensive, like its original price is significantly more expensive than what we've been used to, is the license tabs were pretty ridiculous. So that was unexpected. The insurance cost is higher.
Yep. There's a significant increase if you're used to older cars that are sort of known entities. Like if you have a Toyota Prius or a Camry, you're going to have very reasonable costs for both insurance and for tabs. And even buying this used, it's a significant increase that you're going to need to budget for.
Obviously no gas cost, but our electricity cost has gone up.
Yep.
But we actually just got set up with the time of use meter finally. And so we'll have more data on the difference that makes soon. I guess all in all, would you do it again? And
Sure.
is there any, like, how do you feel about it? Like,
Well, I don't feel as happy about it as you do, but that's okay. I'm glad we got it, and it's been a great investment for us, and it's made you really happy. So I think it's been so clearly a positive experience for us.
I've always enjoyed road trips, but this car makes you want to get out and drive every chance you can. If there's I'll meet you somewhere, or I need to pick something up, it's no, I'll get it. Any excuse to do a little extra driving in it is something I'm always looking for, because it's such a great experience.
No, I feel the same way. Like, it was a good idea. I'm glad we did it.
All right, well, happy anniversary.
Oh, back at you. Thanks, car.